What's up, Hobby Maniacs? Rob Bear here today with a look at the brand new Space Wolfen kit for Warhammer 40k. So these guys, wow, what a bunch of spicy rules. These guys are pretty nuts. They're really interesting models, and well, the internet had a lot to say about them for sure. So we're going to take a look at the kit itself, show you a lot of the different options, because this box, it's not very descriptive. I think Games Workshop could have done a little bit better when it came to describing the actual kit itself, and also kind of describing them in White Dwarf. I was a little disappointed until I actually got the box and got into it. But I think for a lot of folks, you might not be willing to put out that money to pick up the box without actually seeing what's in it and seeing if you get really what you're looking to get in there. But before we get to all that, I would like to invite you to stay in the trenches. Click on the link up there for Patreon. Help keep our videos ad-free in 2016. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel here. Check out the blog, SpikeyBitsblog.com, and head on over to thelongwar.net. That's the home of the battle reports for exclusive content, early access videos, and more. Become a veteran of the Long War today. So like I was saying, this is a really great box set, I feel like, that you might not really know how great this box set is because, well, once again, Games Workshop's marketing department, oh wait, didn't really do a good job, in my opinion, of explaining this whole kit here. So let's take a closer look at the whole thing, moving slowly with this new camera, right? So the whole box right here is $60. It comes with a lot of good options, and a lot of people are like, yo, I'm not really feeling the Mr. Miyagi Karate Kid crane pose thing right here, right? Well, it turns out you don't have to make that guy. Which I'm going to show you in the little rule book, or excuse me, instruction manual breakdown. But everybody else pretty much is going to look kind of like this, so to speak. And then that guy right there is going to have a different pose. So on the back, they basically show you, hey, you got this weapon, you got this weapon, you got this weapon. But nowhere in this box do they say all the pieces you get. Hey, guess what, Games Workshop? We would be really excited to know what pieces you get in this box. If you told us what you get in this box, that would be great, because when I go to a store and I pick up this box and I may or may not have $60 in my pocket to purchase this, I damn sure want to know if it comes with 3 of each weapon to equip these guys. I see that you can take 3 different weapons, but Games Workshop, you fooled me before. I bought box sets and I couldn't get all the bits that I needed to make my squads, and I had to buy them online. But I don't want to keep doing that. Stop it. Especially when a box like this comes along, it's really expensive. I want all the options in here. Well, it turns out, good news is, all the options do come in here. But you couldn't tell by looking at the box. Maybe it explains online on their online store, but to be quite honest, I don't really go to their online store. I am, I guess like most of you guys out there, an impulse buyer. If I see it on the shelf and I need it, I'm gonna buy it. But if I don't know I need it, I'm probably not gonna buy it. So that being said, let's take a closer look at the sprues. So you get 3 different sprues, and they are 3 different sprues, not that, hey, they're kind of 3 different sprues that we've seen in the past from Games Workshop. These are all 3 different sprues, and you have to pay, all of these new kits now, you have to pay very close attention to the kits themselves. You can't just go in and clip everything off the sprue, because you will never match up the parts. You have to almost do them one by one, and I'll show you an instruction manual. The guys also come on a 40 millimeter basis, similar to Terminators, but kind of not similar to Terminators in a lot of ways there. So here's the interesting part. So here's the instruction guide on or assembly guide, how to put these guys together. So there's 2 different kind of I guess ways you can go about it. They do have the pack leader. You don't have to take the pack leader, because remember, you can field 5 of these guys, and then you can field 5 more in a squad, or up to 5 more. So you got the crazy crane karate kid right here. But that being said, you can use his parts, right, to make this guy right here, because see, that guy is that guy, so that guy doesn't count. It's this guy can be used to make this guy's parts, and the way they do it is they have a different kind of foot mount kind of thing. So it basically takes the foot from being straight up to being cantered forward right here, and like he's in a stride. And there's actually a different paw bit for the leg that's in the air, because see, this one's straight down and this one's kind of kicked forward, like he's about to land with his second foot there, right? So it's really interesting how they did it all, and how they basically 3D rendered it to take kind of like what you got going on up here and kind of turn it into another completely different looking pose. I mean, the arms are different because this one only comes with the wolf claws up here, or the frost claws, but down here he can be equipped with any of them and a brand new set of claws as well. So really interesting kind of assembly pattern here. Now, remember what I said about you got to really be on your toes when you're putting these kits together. So first off, they're going to show you how to build the Wulfen pack leader, which is fine because he only goes together one way, no big deal. But remember, his legs and his backpack are used to make the other pose guy right here, and I think that's pose 6, I want to say, but I forget. So you get all that and you make that guy good to go, right? So then you get to Wulfen 2, which is your first actual like Wulfen guy to put together. And very specific, hey, you got to use this leg. It has to go on this kind of mount, base mount. You have to use this leg here. You have to use this torso. Now, when it comes to the actual backpacks, you don't really have to use whatever backpack you want, but you can use the one they recommend. And what's cool about those is you got these little kind of trophy rack mounts that can go on top, or they cannot go on top. It doesn't take anything away from the backpack. It's just less stuff to paint. And then you can put the grenade launcher on top as well. And I think it comes with 2 grenade launchers. I don't believe there's 5 on the sprue, but I didn't even get that far with my assembly yet, but I'm pretty sure there isn't 5. So then they give you the optional heads. You got 2 different heads for each guy, and then a couple of doodads. Like sometimes you have like a little wolf tooth necklace, or like a little little bone knife or something like that. It's all random depending on which guy. Then you flip the page, and it's like, yo, shit gets real right here, because now you want to go with the Great Frost Axe, you want to go with the Thunderhammer Storm Shield, or you want to go with the Frost Claws. Pick your poison. And some of the arms line up and some of the arms don't. Like you can kind of tell right here, like these are very similar, except for this this Storm Shield arm is different from the mount for the axe. So you really can't magnetize these guys, and furthermore, you can't even really magnetize them at the shoulders because it's got that kind of computer slice at the shoulder kind of muscle thing. Like it's like almost a V joint. It isn't like your straight planar joint that like a Space Marine has at a shoulder. This is like a V joint where it mounts over that, depending on which Wulfen you want to go with. And you got muscles and stuff, so it doesn't really look like it's going to work for magnetization, so you kind of got to pick which way you want to go with it, unfortunately, which I think it's great. I think it's really cool how they give you all 3 different sets of bits. Now, granted, this arm is the same on each one right here. These arms are different, and these arms are definitely different. So you're going to have some leftover parts, but you're not going to have a whole lot. You'll have enough leftover parts that you can kind of throw some flair on some other figures currently in your collection, or maybe some additional sprues that you already have. But you're not going to be able to get like whole Wulfen models out of this thing. I don't feel like. Not even with the wolf pack leader, because really all you have is a torso and a set of arms. So like you would have to get another set of Wulfen legs, because remember, these guys are a little bit bigger because they're on 40 mil bases, right? So kind of interesting there how they did it all, and I really dig it. And of course, those options are pretty much the same for the whole kit, for the whole kit all the way through. And then you get to the back and you see the last guy, which is right here, and this guy uses the same legs that the Wolf Pack Battle Leader uses, but it basically mounts into a different base mount right here, and then you have a different paw bit. So it kind of orientates the model differently, whereas the Wolf Pack Leaders, or the Wulfen Pack Leaders, back like this guy is kind of lunging, kind of got his little Wolverine pose on there. So that's basically how it goes. The kit itself is fantastic. Lots of cool options, lots of cool doodads. You can leave them on, you can leave them off. You get the data sheet on the back, just like we've seen in the past for the past like 2 years or so for new models there. Now, the sprues themselves, like I was saying, are 3 different ones, and you have to be very careful. They tell you all the part numbers, and this is what still gets me. Like they're not organized by number. So you'll find some stuff next to some things, like for instance, the stuff at the end here is the pack leader stuff, right? So those are the majority. Like there's his necklace that goes over his chest. There's his claw arms. There's part of him, his torso and things. But then you have to go through the rest of the sprue to find the rest of his stuff. Now, obviously, those are all the storm shields, right? So they look great. They're bigger than most stuff, and that goes along with all the fluff too, because when the Wulfen get into the Fang and they're kind of just like kicking it, you know, basically being guarded or babysat by you know, some of the Wolfguard battle leaders and things, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. The Wulfen just are like going up on the walls and like picking up the old weapons, the ceremonial weapons. They're just laying around the Fang, and they're like just like breaking shit with them. And it turns out those were their weapons. They left them behind, so everything is like you know, incredibly oversized for the Wulfen to use, because they're, you know, they're bigger models, you know, just in general. So the Space Wolves are like, what? We never use that stuff. It's too big. And the Wulfen are like, yeah, I remember this one. You know, and they just start like smashing statues with it and stuff. So yeah, really interesting. So this stuff isn't going to match up. It might match up with a Terminator, but it's not going to match up with your normal, you know, Space Marine power or Space Wolf power armor guys, so to speak. So there's kind of the layout of all of that, and everything is. Most of the parts are very easy to find. Sometimes you're just like, where's part number 100? And it's, you know, 101's here and 100's over on another sprue, and it's a little frustrating, but they are all there as far as I could tell. You know, clipping. I went through and I clipped everything down according to the instructions, and I labeled the baggies like, hey, Wulfen number 1 and Wulfen number 2, you know, like that. So I would have all the parts isolated in one area, because sometimes you only have time to clip down all the parts, and that took like almost half an hour just to find all the parts themselves to go with each figure. So don't clip them all off and just put them in a pile, because you will be in a world of hurt trying to play the memory game and matching them up to the diagrams on the actual instruction manual. So then here's the second sprue, and it's got a lot of different parts, you know, from the claws to the backpacks to the axes to the you know, the thunder hammers themselves. They're all kind of stretched out throughout the whole kit. There's no rhyme or reason to it. You just kind of gotta look. They kind of put some of the armor platings and things at the top and bottom. The backpacks are on the left and right, but for the most part, not really. No, I mean, don't get me wrong. The design of the actual parts themselves is amazing. Like, very well detailed stuff. The fact that you can kind of cobble it together, or, you know, like put things on top of things, like the shoulder pads, you know, go over the muscular frame in certain spots. These are the groin pads, or like, I guess, hammy pads, I guess, so to speak, you know, over the thigh areas. That you could leave off. You could paint them separate and then put them on, because that's technically the only armored parts of the whole leg. Just kind of depends on how you want to do it, whatever's more simpler for you. You know, so it's kind of a hodgepodge of stuff. The design is great, very well detailed stuff. You got little wolf tail talismans all over stuff, and bone, you know, teeth, and, you know, all sorts of this stuff that you would come to expect from the Space Wolves themselves. There's even like a Gene Stealer trophy rack head that you can put on the pack leader, because I guess there was Gene Stealers in the warp too, and they had to fight those. So then this is the last sprue, and you can see still no pretty much rhyme or reason, just the bigger stuff kind of out towards the flanks and a lot of the arms and things. And there are some different options for hands. You can have different hands on the wolf claws, or you don't even have to attach the claws themselves. You can just have a fist. Like, hey, maybe his wolf claw got busted on his left hand, and now all he's got is a fist, and he's just punching people, you know, whatever. You know, the sky's the limit. You do you as far as this stuff it goes, because that is the whole thing about the Wulfen themselves is, you know, they were all like basically scavengers, just chilling, you know, in the warp, in the Eye of Terror for so many years, just, you know, living off of whatever they killed, and as far as like re-gearing themselves and just, you know, general shelter and things like that. So they're expected to have kind of a little bit of a cobbled appearance. I think these guys are a little bit too clean. Maybe they're the up armored version from, hey, they went back to the Fang and they got weapons and things like that. So it's hard to say. There's all sorts of different fluffy angles and narratives that you can kind of exploit and make your own for your hobby and you know, building this whole new army here. So overall, I think it's a great kit, very well detailed. You get tons of options. It definitely doesn't feel like you're getting the short end of the stick when you buy it, and that you have to buy more stuff to make an effective I guess, kind of unit build as days pass. So Games Workshop's definitely getting better about that. And to be quite honest, they kind of have to, just the way everything's going, and the availability of so many secondhand part companies and counts as models, and they really just kind of have to keep wowing us at this point, or else, you know, who knows? Attention might go elsewhere, I guess, so to speak. So that's pretty much it for this one. I hope you enjoyed my unboxing and review of the new Space Wolf Wulfen kit from Games Workshop.